I'll show some real-time data with the trend lines in this video. So this is a Tesla weekly chart, and this is a Tesla daily chart, and today is July 1st. So right now is 2:58. So this is a Tesla weekly chart and a Tesla daily chart, and this is the first day of July. So that means this is a daily chart. That means each vertical bar is a real-time data, and this yellow trend lines and the blue trend lines are prediction model, the predicted trend lines. So this is a weekly chart, and the closing price right now this week is not finished yet. Today is the last day of this week, and right now the stock price is here, and the daily chart, and yesterday it was closed here between these two trend lines, and today it opened here above this trend line, and right now today it was fluctuating within this range between these two trend lines. So because I just want to show some real-time data, real-time demonstration of the trend lines and the price, so I will change it to smaller time frames so it will be easier to check all those kind of fluctuations. So this is a Tesla 60 minutes chart, and if I change this to 5 minutes chart, so because right now I just want to show the changes of the real-time stock price versus the trend lines, so you see it will be easier to look at this kind of a trend from the 5 minutes chart. So because it's always fluctuating, so you see this each vertical bar is 5 minutes real-time stock price data. So if this is a 5 minutes chart, and this is a trend line, blue trend line and the yellow trend line, so you can see from this kind of 5 minutes chart, you can also see it fluctuate within this type of trend lines. And you see this kind of trend lines is matches when it drops to here, it's almost dropped to this minimum price trend line, and it started to reverse. And you see when it touches this trend lines, and it started to decrease the price. You can see even these 5 minutes trend lines are also matches this stock price very well. And right now for this current 5 minutes, and I can show you the real-time data, real-time. And for example, right now it's 3:01, so just 1 minute past 3 o'clock, so 3:01, and July 1st. So that's just 1 minute for this 5 minutes chart. And this 5 minutes, it was closed here, opened here, opened slightly above this trend line, and you can see this trend line also has a decreasing trend. So that means it has a stronger decreasing momentum than increasing momentum. So right now it opened here, and then it started to decrease. And when it decreased to below this trend line, and then it will take some more time to recover. And right now you can see when it's a fluctuation, and this kind of a tail of this trend lines are the predicted trend lines or predicted minimum or maximum price for the next 5 minutes. So because the current 5 minutes is not completed yet, so the prediction for the next 5 minutes is not finalized. So right now you can see this kind of a tail are automatically shifted or changed when the price of the current 5 minutes price is changing. So it will also affect this kind of a trend line. But when the current 5 minutes time frame is finished, and then this kind of a prediction for the next 5 minutes is then finalized. So right now you can see when the stock price dropped to this price range, it will take a little bit more time to recover. But since even for this 5 minutes trend lines, this bottom trend lines are also specify or represent the minimum price trend line. So when it drops to this kind of a minimum the lowest minimum price trend line, then it have a very good higher probability to increase, to have a reverse. You see right now it almost touches this minimum price trend line, and it may have a little bit more decreasing momentum, so it may exceed it or break this trend line a little bit. But you know, since this represents the minimum price, stock price, so when it reaches this minimum price trend line, it will have a very good tendency to start to increase the stock price. And right now it's almost stay here, and right now it may have a little bit of battle around this price range. And but then we can, if you are doing some day trade, then you can watch this kind of a trend and the stock price change and versus the trend line, the trend, and also the predicted minimum and the maximum price. And right now you can see there's some special dot appeared. So this kind of a special dots are another level of defense to represent the minimum price. So you see when it reaches to this special dot, that means it have a much better tendency to increase, to have a reverse. And right now it's trying to recover the stock price, but it will take some time. So if the stock price increased to this point, because it's a kind of intersection between this trend line and the stock price, so it could become a resistance, so it will have some more difficult. So right now, okay, so this 5 minutes is already finished, so that means it already goes to the next 5 minutes. So this is a new Tesla stock price in the new 5 minutes time frame, and you can see these trend lines are already started to have the increasing trend, and this is the predicted trend lines or trend for the next 5 minutes. So this point, and this point are the predicted minimum and maximum price for the current 5 minutes. So you can see it started to have some kind of increasing momentum and trend, and you can also see the stock price, the Tesla stock price, started to increase. So you can see when it increases to this point, it may have some kind of a resistance. So if it can break this point, then it may have the tendency to increase to this range. But right now, at this point, could still be a resistance. So the fluctuation range is between this range, and you can see right now it's always fluctuating. So because this is a 5 minutes chart, so it's easier to see this kind of real-time fluctuation. And if you can see this 60 minutes chart, right now the stock price is here. So it's between these two trend lines, these two blue trend lines, and this 60 minutes. So it opened here, 60 minutes. So that means from the 2:30 to 3:30. So it opened here, and right now it tried to reach this trend line. And when it reaches to this trend line, you can see it exactly touches this trend line, and then it started to decrease. So it's a kind of fluctuation range for this hour, 2:30 to 3:30, is between this range. But right now it's trying to approach this maximum price trend line, and so right now it's still in this region and try to approach this kind of maximum price. So you can see this 5 minutes chart right now is already increased to this blue trend line, and this went exceeded it. That means it also have a very good increasing momentum, and you can see the next 5 minutes trend line also have a very good increasing trend. So this is the current fluctuation of the 5 minutes. So that means if you have this kind of a trend line, use it as a reference to help do the day trade. And then even for each 5 minutes, there's still some kind of a trend. You can see for this 5 minutes fluctuation, that means when it dropped to this special dots or below this trend line, and that means it's still in the low price region for the current 5 minutes. So for example, when it have have the stock price located in this region. Even for this, when it touches this yellow trend line, that means it almost touches the maximum price for the current 5 minutes. So if you know this kind of a trend, so if you for example, if this has an increasing trend, and then if you purchase the stock price at this low price region and sell it at this price, and you can basically, if there's about $5 or $4 of difference, price difference, if you purchase 100 shares, and then you basically you can earn $500 in just 5 minutes if you know this kind of a fluctuation trend and the minimum and maximum price of the stock price. So right now, when it reaches to this region above this blue trend lines, that means it's almost have the tendency to be located in the high price region. So you need to be cautious about something like a potential trend. It may start to decrease, but you know, if this 5 minutes continues to show the increasing trend, then maybe you can just start to hold the price for a little while and let it increase a little bit more. So basically, this is a kind of a real-time fluctuation versus the trend line. So you can see this kind of a next time frame, the trend lines for the next time frame is automatically generated even before this time frame is completed. So right now, it's still trying to increase. And then the next target could be the target value of this yellow trend line. But right now, when it opened for this new 5 minutes time frame, it opened below this blue trend line, so it could represent that it may have a temporary decreasing trend to decrease to this low price trend line, and then you see it fluctuate in this region, and then when it dropped to here, it started to increase immediately, and then it will increase to this one. It has a little bit more resistance. So, but if once it can break this trend line, it will have a more increasing trend. And you see this trend line basically captures this kind of a fluctuation range. And right now, this bottom trend line, it looks like it's changing the trend. So that means in this price region, it's a kind of a temporary transition region. So in this region, it could have a little bit more increasing momentum to increase the price a little bit more, but it also could represent a little bit more decreasing momentum to decrease the price. So when it was shifted to this kind of a price range, then the trend lines for the next 5 minutes is also is adjusted automatically based on the current Tesla stock price. So this is a kind of a 5 minutes chart, and this is a 60 minutes chart. So you can see for 5 minutes chart is always, because it's always fluctuating. So you can easily see this kind of a fluctuation. But if you change it to the daily chart, then you may not see this kind of rapid fluctuation very easily. So because of the resolution, so the daily chart, it may just increase or change a little bit. But based on for 5 minutes or even 60 minutes, and then you can see a little bit more changes in the time frame or in the chart. So this is just to show this kind of a demonstration of the real-time data with the trend line.